Up all day and all night, pushing all the buttons up to something till it's alright. He looking at it from all sides and angles. Got a stripes on his body like he played for the Bengals.
Us live from the First Star Logistics studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio, for another episode of State of the Jungle, presented by First Star Logistics. I'm your host, Malik Wright, joined by my co-host. We've got Evan McPhillips, the guru when it comes to all the stats and analytics. And then we've got my main man from Portland, Oregon, right? He's the only Bengals fan from Portland that I think I've ever.
One
the
of
only
them.
one.
The only
He's
one
got
out
to be
there.
the only one, right?
He's it.
No other Bengals fan exists. But he's filling in for my main man, Logan, today. We've got TWSN's own Dash Pedersen. Dash, welcome to State of the Jungle, my man. Are you excited for today's show?
I'm absolutely excited. Thank you again for letting me on.
Of course. Well, we got a lot to get into. But before we do, make sure we give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, because, again, we cannot do this without you guys. We got a lot to talk about. Bengals head to Arrowhead, or as some people are calling it, Burrowhead. I don't like that too much. I'm not too big of a fan of it, but I do love the confidence, right? But Bengals head to Arrowhead. They take on the Kansas City Chiefs. Give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's get into it, right? Let's start off with the keys to victory for the Cincinnati Bengals. Dash, you are our guest. You are filling in for Logan, so we're going to start with you.
All right, so I think the first thing that the Bengals need to do to really dominate the Chiefs this time around, you got to continue to limit Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce has never had more than 5 receptions against the Cincinnati Bengals. Never more than 5 receptions in his entire career, right? So if the Bengals can continue to do this, because look, last week, Travis Kelce was the X factor for the Chiefs. He had 10 catches, 2 touchdowns. He is the focal point of that offense. I'm not too worried about Marquez Valdes-Scantling. I'm not too worried about Kadarius Toney. If you can stop Travis Kelce, you're going to be able to do really good things. And I think there's nobody better out there than, as we've been calling him, Louis Bag Lou, at doing what he needs to do to make sure the Bengals are put in the position to win. And that's going to be stopping Travis Kelce. That's my biggest key is making sure that you can continue to do that shutdown job on Travis Kelce.
So wait, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're not worried about Valdes-Scantling. You're not worried about Juju Smith-Schuster. You're not worried about anybody. Only person you're worried about is Travis. So you're not worried about Isaiah Pacheco.
Look, Isaiah Pacheco, he's done well. He's done well so far. But look, we have DJ Reader. Give me DJ Reader against Isaiah Pacheco. Give me Sam Hubbard. Sam Hubbard is one of, if not the best run-stopping defensive ends in the league. He is severely underrated by the national media, by everybody. He does not get the credit that he deserves, really, in the run game. He is a force. And DJ Reader, best nose tackle in the league. This is a run defense that will shut down Isaiah Pacheco. They'll go to it. I believe on Monday you talked about their game plan is going to be to stick with what worked. They're going to want to feed Isaiah Pacheco because it worked last week. They're going to have 1 or 2 drives trying to give Isaiah Pacheco the ball. What's going to happen? DJ Reader's going to show up. Sam Hubbard's going to show up. I'm not worried about Isaiah Pacheco after that.
Ev, what are your thoughts?
To sound a little bit like a broken record from our Bills talk, it's definitely going to be limiting the top option, which, to backpack off of what Dash was just talking about, is obviously Travis Kelce, right? He is constantly dominating and still playing at an elite level, 91.4 PFF grade this season. He has still been the unstoppable force. So the big thing is going to be trying to match up with him, limit the amount of quality touches and looks he can get, trying to get that pressure on Mahomes where you can affect the accuracy a little bit, make these throws not just layups or gimmies for a guy who is as good as Pat Mahomes is and for as good as Travis Kelce is at finding soft spots in the zone. They have such great chemistry in that, where sometimes it doesn't even look like Travis Kelce's running real routes. It looks like he's running to the open space, and Pat Mahomes is just ready for it. That's why it still looks prepared. So you've got to do your best to limit that connection and make guys like they were talking about, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Juju Smith-Schuster, Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, whichever one ends up playing more this game coming around or being more of a factor in the offense. Make those guys beat you. You saw what the Bengals did when they limited Stefon Diggs to 4 catches on 35 yards on 10 targets. They need to have something similar with Travis Kelce, where maybe he gets those 5 catches, 4 catches for 60 yards, but you stop that 2 touchdowns from coming. You stop that touchdown. You stop the 10-catch game. You stop him from being that safety valve that he constantly has to go to, and make him trust these guys that aren't as proven. So when they did that against the Bills, you saw Gabe Davis, Cole Beasley. These guys couldn't make everything happen. And that's not the only reason that the Buffalo offense struggled, but you do need to make life harder on Pat Mahomes by taking away his favorite option. And obviously, I think on the other side of the ball, you can't ignore what Chris Jones has been able to do. When you look at his just traditional, his win rate on just any dropbacks and passing dropbacks, he has a 20% win rate. So you're talking 1 in 5 snaps he's winning this block. And when you look at the true pass sets, when they have to drop back, we're talking eliminating your play action, your screens, all this quick game. It goes up to 25%. So he's winning 1 in 4 of those true dropbacks. So finding a way and having a game plan to disrupt his timing, to slow him down a little bit. We know Joe Burrow's got that time to throw under 2.5 seconds on the season. We know he's one of the quicker throws, and he's quick to process and diagnose where he wants to go with it. We've seen him excel in taking these check down options. So if they can just find a way to slow him down, then they're going to be in a good shape trying to make Frank Clark, Carlos Dunlap, George Karlaftis try and beat them. I feel a lot more confident about saying dedicate those resources to shutting down Chris Jones and then make everybody else beat you the same way you would with Travis on the offense.
I love that entire breakdown from you, Dash, from you, Evan. You guys were nice. You guys were nice. And that's why I love you guys, because you guys are so nice, you know? But I'm going to keep it real with you. The Kansas City Chiefs don't have a defense. They have a fence. I've said this since last year, and I'm going to continue to say that. Steve Spagnuolo has to be the worst defensive coordinator, one of the worst defensive coordinators who gets a lot of praise in the NFL, if you ask me. I think he constantly places guys out of position, and I think you need to see the Bengals take advantage of that. I think the Bengals are going to have a real opportunity to run the football down the Kansas City Chiefs through. I really do. I think Joe Mixon, I think when they played the Kansas City Chiefs last time, he was averaging like five yards a carry, something like that, a little over 5 yards a carry. He tends to have some of his best running days when the Bengals are committed to the run. When he does take on the Kansas City Chiefs. I'll be honest with you guys. I do think this game is going to be close for the first 2 quarters, maybe even 3. I think as the game goes on, I think the Cincinnati Bengals will start to pull away a little bit right now. Just being completely honest with you. I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs have the same exact edge rushers that, the Buffalo Bills have. That's that much of a threat, which I think helps our offensive line. I think they're going to be able to establish running and control this game and limit the possessions of a Kansas City Chiefs. I also can see the Kansas City Chiefs really trying to implement Isaiah Pacheco into the game plan heavy. I'm very curious if it doesn't work out for the first 5 plays, if they go away from it quickly, which is Andy Reid's MO, or if he stays with it. My advice is I think he should stay with it because, as we know in the running game, it eventually breaks through. Let me get to the next part, though. I love our edge rushers against Patrick Mahomes. That relentless pressure from Trey Hendrickson and that contain that Sam Hubbard sort of plays. And then you got Joseph Asai, you put him in on the inside, and you just start to speed things up. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are being overlooked a little bit by the media, to be honest with you. They still have Patrick Mahomes, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League. And they still have that championship medal where they've been there before. I don't think the Bengals should overlook the Kansas City Chiefs, nor do I think the Bengals are actually overlooking Kansas City Chiefs. I do think a lot has been made about Trent McDuffie's success against Jamar Chase. And there's been a lot of KC fans and pundits out there that have saying, "Oh, Trent McDuffie is the answer for Jamar Chase." I understand that you gotta hold out hope somehow because that's the only success that you sort of have had. But I would not advise them playing man-to-man coverage on Jamar Chase with Trent McDuffie. I wouldn't advise that. I think that's a recipe for disaster.
Well, and to your point too, you talked about Spagnuolo and the defense as well. It's one of the blitz heavier defense, and we know Joe Burrow dices up the blitz. So I think that's another matchup that you were talking about on defense that's favorable for the Bengals on offense.
Absolutely. I'm not. It's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling because you don't want to be to the point where you're cocky, but you also don't want to be at the point where you're speaking down about the team in the same way or speaking with a lack of confidence. And I got to be honest with you, I'm really confident in this game, man. I know people may jump and listen to this, and they listen to State of the Jungle, and you think that, hey, we're just we're overly, excited for this game. It's really, really not that though. I'm really failing to see where Kansas City has the advantage in this matchup. I'm really failing to see. I think that even if Kansas City goes up, by 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns, how can you confidently say to yourself, you know what? Our team, is how can you say our team is going to put this game away when you blew a 4 touchdown lead before? I'm just struggling. I'm really struggling respectfully. I know every game is a new game.
Mhm.
I get that. But if someone could try to tell me, like, this Bengals football team is battle tested. So one of my favorite sayings is battle tested makes war ready. I think this Bengals football team is on a whole different level right now.
Well, Malik, I like to give credit where credit's due,
Yeah.
right? And so I'll call things like I see it, whether or not I try to view things through a neutral lens as best I can. Obviously, I'm still someone who was born and raised in Cincinnati, grew up, but much like Malik, I feel like that makes me look harder at them and
Yeah.
judge things more so in that manner. But to that point, I want to give credit to Kansas City here,
Yeah.
a team who lost out, well, not lost out, but traded away one of the most dynamic weapons in the NFL. And Malik, if I sat here and told you right now that the Kansas City Chiefs team this year is better than the Kansas City Chiefs team from last year with Tyreek Hill, would you buy that?
Yes, because the numbers say so.
The numbers do say so. The Chiefs this year are better than last year in EPA per play on offense, EPA per play on defense allowed, which is a big swing from from a positive 0.059 allowed on defense to a negative 0.029 on defense this year. So big swing that their defense has actually been a net positive as opposed to it was a sieve and a hole last year, right?
Yeah.
Something that you referenced. You called it a fence, not a defense. I agree that kind of described them last year. I think they have a little bit more consistency. They're a little bit better this year.
Yeah, I agree that they might have more bars up a little bit.
Right. Yes. So you've got the PFF offensive grade is 3.5 points higher. You've got the defense grade is another 10, 12 points higher. And then even points per play is slightly higher. So the fact that they didn't even take a step backwards, that they took a slight increase forwards, I want to give credit where credit's due on that because Pat Mahomes and Travis Kelce, they've built the plane out of them, right? Like and obviously they should. Those are their best weapons. But I do just want to point out that this is not a weakened Kansas City Chiefs. I know a lot of people are kind of pointing out that narrative this week a little bit. I agree that the Bengals match up well with them for the reasons that we talked about, right? For their defensive coordinator loves to blitz. Joe Burrow's good against the blitz. We know the history of how these matchups have turned out. I do just want to declare that, hey, this Chiefs team is not a pushover right now. So that when we come after the fact that if they do, we anticipate that the Bengals will win. They are currently favorites. I believe still -1, right?
I'd say pick them at this point.
Yeah.
Still favorites, still in that area. I think the Bengals match up well with them, but this is not a weakened Kansas City Chiefs team. If or when they win, it should not be, oh, Mahomes was hurt after especially how we saw he looked today and his constant reassurance that he's fine. So this is going to be a battle, absolutely. And like you said, you believe that the Bengals are battle tested and war ready. So we'll find out.
Here's one thing I just want to say real quick.
Yeah.
When the Chiefs need a play, when the Chiefs, if they go behind, even if they're up and they need one key play, if Travis Kelce, who has been shut down by the Bengals his entire career, if they need a play, who do they go to? You don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. Tyreek Hill was that guy who you could get the ball in his hands and you could say, Tyreek, go run 62 yards and go score. Are you going to give the ball to like Kadarius Toney, Sky Moore?
He's only playing 15, 20 snaps.
He's had one 100-yard game in his entire career.
Yeah.
I mean, like I fail to see where the Chiefs have that explosive dynamic.
I
offense.
think that's what we're talking about, right? I think that there's no longer when you talk about the Chiefs needing a big play, it's hard for you to be like, okay, who's going to be that explosive threat? Is it Kadarius Toney? Is it Sky Moore? Is it Isaiah Pacheco? Like who? Because we're so used to Tyreek Hill making these ridiculous plays, right?
Mm-hmm.
Changing direction, running around. So I'm be honest with you. I think the Chiefs are being disrespected a lot. And trust me, I know how you feel. We've been in that spot for the most part. We were in that spot last week against the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
the fans might be speaking very confidently and maybe overlooking the Chiefs, but I don't think that this team is overlooking the Chiefs.
Oh, not at all.
I think they understand who they're facing. I think they understand what's at stake. And I just think when you look at it, you know, a little too much is being made of Patrick Mahomes versus Joe Burrow because quarterbacks don't have head-to-head matchups, right?
It's a team game.
It's a team game.
It's
exactly.
why quarterback wins don't correlate to actual wins consistently.
Exactly. I think, though, if the Bengals are able to establish the run and allow that to marry together with their passing game, I think that they can win this game. I think they can be in control of this game and win this game. I do, and that's honestly how I see it playing out. I'm pretty excited, though. Daniel, me, Evan, and Logan. All right, the State of the Jungle Crew. We'll be here. We will be here. We will be there. I'm sorry, in Kansas City, and we're leaving Saturday. Obviously, all possible via First Star Logistics. We'll be having a little caravan set up right outside of Paycor Stadium, and we'll be traveling to KC and watching, you know, the Bengals take on the Kansas City Chiefs. We're also going to be doing a pre-show live on site at Arrowhead Stadium. Cannot wait live from the First Star Logistics mobile studio. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I think it's really, really exciting that we get to do this, and it's going to be unlimited Bengals content. I saw someone say earlier, 24/7 Bengals content, please. I can't promise that because I do a show with my lovely co-host Megan Ortwine every single Monday called The Sit Down with Malik Wright, where we talk about everything. But I can tell you this week, right, we've given you 24/7 Bengals content. This weekend, we're going to give you 24/7 Bengals content. I can't promise you that Evan won't have a Bud Light in his hand. I can promise
you I will.
Okay, there we go. You're hearing it from the horse's mouth. We're going to see my guy Pranav Sriram, a big Chiefs fan. He'll be with us live on the pre-show. He's a big-time Chiefs fan. We're excited for this game. We're excited just to be in the presence of greatness. And by greatness, I mean Joe Burrow. I'm kidding. Also Patrick Mahomes. But we're really, really excited for this matchup. We're going to keep the conversation rolling. Mm-hmm. There's a guy on the Cincinnati Bengals who is public enemy number one. He is being tossed around as the Pat Beverly of the NFL. He is the troll king of the NFL. We're talking about Elijah Apple. We're talking about Eli Apple. Eli Apple is everyone's favorite cornerback to hate, right? In the NFL. I want to talk about this. I feel like a lot of stuff has been overblown a little bit with Eli Apple on social media. You know, he's a good dude at the end of the day. I love the turnaround he's made on his career as well. And I love the fact that he talks what he talks, but he backs it up. Regardless of if he's having help or not, every cornerback in the National Football League has help. We never say Eli's a shutdown corner, but we did say Eli Apple talks his talk and he backs it up. I have my take on Eli Apple where I find him hilarious personally. I think that the guy gets into receivers' heads and, you know, I wanted to hear what you guys' opinion are. I know some people are like, you know, we're getting tired of hearing from Eli Apple, but I don't mind it too much. I think that you need a guy like that. He reminds me almost of Josh Norman when he was with the Panthers.
Or Lance Stevenson back in the Pacers and Heat.
Remember he blew in LeBron's ear?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
Oh, dude. He was doing all kinds of crazy stuff. But at the same time, some of those guys thrive off that energy. And that's kind of like how they spark that rivalry, that competitive spirit between all them. And so I don't hate it like you do. I think as long as you're not crossing some very common sense lines about what is off limits, then you can talk as much as you want, man. If that's your style, if that's your play, go ahead, man. Like, I mean, we've seen it with Roquan Smith and the Ravens the week before, man. Like, people talk, dude. Josh Allen was all in Jesse Bates' face after he scored that first touchdown, man. Like, these guys jaw at each other, man, because they're all alpha dogs out there.
Yeah.
They're all competitors. They've all been winning since they were in high school. And
he's the
college.
J.R. Smith
like,
he's the J.R. Smith what J.R. Smith was the Cavaliers.
Look, these guys don't like losing, man. These guys are professional athletes at the highest level playing on the biggest stage right now. Like,
I got to be honest with you. I am looking forward. I know I'm looking ahead a little bit like that, and I'm not looking ahead. I promise you. I'm just making a statement. I am looking forward to a Bengals Super Bowl parade here in Cincinnati just to see the absolute menace that Eli Apple is going to be.
Oh, the picture of Eli Apple with a bottle of Hennessy in his hand.
Oh, my God.
Going to break the internet.
Oh, my God. I think he is going to become a legend in Cincinnati for what happens, what transpires, at that Super Bowl parade. Now, we don't want to look ahead. We don't want to look ahead too much, but I do want to say I love it. I love it. Love it. And Mason, thank you so much, my guy. If you guys can do us a favor, give this video a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 3,000 subscribers. So if you guys can do us a huge favor, give this video a like, subscribe. We appreciate the support. But, I will say Eli Apple tends to get into players' heads a little bit. All right. And I think that, do you think that happens? Like, do you think he got into Stephon Diggs' head?
Absolutely.
Do you think that's why he was able to have success against him?
Absolutely. Look, Lou Anarumo earlier today, he went on the Pat McAfee show and he said they specifically try to get people like upset. They specifically try to pick out target players and make them feel a certain type of way. If you can get in players' heads, have them going back to the bench and have them upset with we saw him arguing with Josh Allen on the bench, right? Did that help the Bengals? Absolutely. Right. And so this is trash talk is not just meaningless. He's not just talking to talk. He's not just talking to poke fun. This is also a part of the game. Cornerbacks talk trash probably more than any other position in the entire game of football because they have to try to get in these guys' heads. When you see him going up against a guy like Stephon Diggs, if you told me who's going to win one-on-one, Stephon Diggs or Eli Apple, I'm taking Stephon Diggs 100% of the time. I'm sorry. Eli Apple he's a solid number 2 corner. He's a solid cornerback. But there's more to the game than just the skills and just what you see, route running versus ability to cover, right? And so I think this is something that is targeted. This is on purpose. He's trying to do this, and it's working. It works.
It worked. It worked against Tyreek Hill.
It worked against Tyreek Hill. It worked against Stephon Diggs. I mean, this is a part of the game, and some people don't want to take it like that. They just want to say oh, leave the talk, leave the stuff on the field, right? Mm-hmm. But he's getting into people's heads already.
Yeah.
He's getting people to talk about him. He's getting people to think about him. When they see him, they're going to be upset already. That's emotional. That you can't,
yeah.
They're going to be emotional. You can't draw emotion out of people just from nothing. Nobody's going to be super upset if they just get beat one time. Nobody's going to be super upset at somebody if they get pushed one time. That happens every single play in the game of football. What can you do to elevate that? What can you do to add more to it? Look at what he's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say. It
reminds me of Dylan Brooks as well for the Memphis Grizzlies. That's what it reminds me of. Dylan. Hated. I think every team has a guy like that.
You need that spark guy. You need that fire guy. I thought Mike Hilton did a great job of that. They just released the mic'd up with him, and man, he was jawing the whole time, getting everybody fired up, man. And you need that. And to backpack again off of what Dash was talking about, this is a complex game. There are so many nuanced details, especially if you're talking about people who are trying to run choice routes with their quarterbacks. And if they're busy trying to think about this and diagnose all that, while at the same time, we're talking, you've got small number of seconds to figure that out. And if at the same time they're worried about how pissed off they are at you, or they're still mad, or they just even have a lapse in judgment where they needed to get out of bounds or something, but they decided to get physical or something and just have a mental lapse, or just they're not thinking about game situation, then that can be one play that you got. And we're talking about a game of inches already. If you get that one play because you were just talking smack, absolutely everyone's going to take that. So I think that's why you see a lot of different people go that route. And again, these are prideful guys who work every single day at their craft. So they are going to go at each other like that. And this happens all the time, man. Eli Apple is just more public about it and airs his laundry out online, versus if everybody was mic'd up all the time, you'd hear so much smack talking. So it's going on, man. Eli's not the only one.
Oh yeah. I'm going to say this. I have a little bit of think I want to get off my chest, but before I do, make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate the support that you guys give us on a consistent basis. If you're looking to start your career today as a broker, make sure you apply to First Star Logistics. There's no place better atmosphere with better people. Been out here since September. They've treated us like nothing but family. We've got to experience so many unforgettable things as well, whether it be watching, Bengals games with Ickey Woods or Jonathan India. It's been an unforgettable experience. And, I'm happy to call this place home. I love coming into the First Star Logistics studio multiple times a week. So yeah, if you're looking to start your career today as a broker with unlimited amount of potential, make sure you apply to First Star Logistics. Now I want to get this off my chest, what I'm about to say. Mm-hmm. There's been a lot of people out there that has been saying the Cincinnati Bengals fan base is arrogant. There have been a lot of people out there that say that the Cincinnati Bengals fan base is cocky. Joe Burrow is cocky. Let me explain something. There is a difference between cocky and confidence. There's a fine line between that.
Mhm.
Baker Mayfield was cocky. Joe Burrow is not cocky. Joe Burrow simply believes in his guys. He believes in their process. He believes in what they're doing. I think a lot of people, national media included, other fans of other teams included, players of other teams included, expect that the Cincinnati Bengals should just be happy to be here. And I'm here to tell you right now, the Bengals right now are not the Bengals of old. And I think a lot of people are having a hard time coming to grips that the new Cincinnati Bengals play with an edge to them, that the new Cincinnati Bengals aren't a bunch of, as people used to say, criminals, or the new Cincinnati Bengals aren't a bunch of guys that, Pittsburgh Steelers would be able to get into their heads and ruin the entire game. The new crop of Cincinnati Bengals, right, are, the new crop of Cincinnati Bengals, I got to be honest with you, they play with a bunch of swagger.
Mhm.
They do. And I think confidence comes from knowing. Confidence comes from winning and being successful.
Been doing plenty of that lately.
And a lot of people are expecting this Bengals football team at some point to roll over and die. The old questions, the old sayings of, you know what? The Bungles, right? Because that was the old team name. The Bungles are going to bungle it up. The Bengals are going to find a way to ruin it. And now, isn't it crazy, right? In our lifetime, Evan's 28, I'm 27 years old, right? I never saw my team win a playoff game, right? And in the span of 2 seasons, they've already won more playoff games than they have, I want to say,
31 years, something
in 30,
like that.
yeah.
I mean, probably more than that.
And more than that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are shocked about this. But I said this before, and I'm not the only one that said it, so I'm not going to take credit. A lot of people have said it. But this is the new norm. This is the new norm. And it takes a franchise changer. It takes a culture shifter like a Joe Burrow, like a Jamar Chase to come in here and change the old narrative. Bengals fans, don't argue with other fans on Twitter. They're not worth your time. I'm just being honest with you. It's not
mad.
worth
And a lot
your
of them
time.
are Steelers fans
Listen,
with burners.
Everyone loved the Bengals last year. They loved the Cinderella story. Why? Because us here in the United States of America, we love an underdog. We do.
Mhm.
We always love an underdog. But you think of every athlete, every single athlete that experienced sustained success. You ask 10 sports fans, maybe 5 of them will say they hate that guy. There's a reason why people hate LeBron. There's a reason why people hate Tom Brady. There's a reason why people hate Steph Curry. Because guess what? At some point, the underdog mentality, the underdog is no longer relatable, because what happens when the underdog becomes, as Joe Burrow says, the big dog? And that's what we're seeing happening right now with the Cincinnati Bengals. Everyone loved the Bengals story last year.
Mhm.
Now everyone's saying the Bengals are a cocky bunch. We want to see the Bengals beaten, because now the Bengals have been proven. They went into Buffalo and beat Buffalo handily. They beat Kansas City twice. Remember, the league was ready to hand over the reins. They were ready to hand the reins over to Patrick Mahomes as the face of the league. Then a guy named Joseph Lee Burrow comes and says, hey, he don't even care for that. He don't even care for that. But he blew up everybody's plans. Blew up everybody's plans. So I think when you look at it, people are having a hard time understanding that this Bengals football team was not a one-hit wonder like Lil Mama when she made lip gloss is popping or something like that. This is right. This is a team that's going to continue to be here year after year after year after year. And I don't think people are happy with it, to be honest with you.
No, last year they just thought, oh, like, we're gonna root for this team because they're not supposed to be here.
Cute story.
This is a cute story. This is a fun story. Go Bengals.
Mhm.
Right? That's not how it is anymore. Now we've established that dominance. We've shown we can start 0-2 and still make it as far as we did. We are a great team, and people are mad. They're mad.
Let me just say this. I love Ohio, and I love the people of Ohio.
Mhm.
But I love, you know what I love more than Ohio? I love Cincinnati. I do. It's a group of hardworking people, right? That just they pin their ears back and they just grind.
Mhm.
They work hard, right? And they're a loyal bunch. That's one thing that I love about Cincinnati. They're a loyal bunch. They really, really are. And I think what people are seeing right now is a lot of pent-up aggression, a lot of years of being hurt
Mhm.
by this sports team or other sports teams, a lot of years of having expectations and them falling short of it. It's not cockiness.
Mhm.
It's not cockiness. It's a breath of fresh air as a Bengals fan that you can sit up there and you could say, wow, it's almost February and we're still fighting for something.
Mhm.
Because there were so many years you would log on. I know as a kid growing up, the one thing I would do every single time my team was having success, I would go log on the internet and I would look for articles to read about my team. I would go log on NFL Network to just hear them talking about my team. I would go turn on ESPN just to hear them talking about my team. And you want to know something, guys? That never happened. They would talk about the same old Pittsburgh Steelers,
Mhm.
the same old Dallas Cowboys,
Mhm.
so on and so forth. And that sucked. Even in the years when we were making the playoffs consistently, it was almost backhanded compliments. They're going to mess up at some point.
Right.
I'm 27 years old now. And the fact that everybody talks about the Cincinnati Bengals
Mhm.
and the way the Cincinnati Bengals fan base travels, they're able to overtake an entire stadium. Things that didn't happen before. To me, it's really, really special to see,
Oh, yeah.
especially now being this as my career in the media.
Mhm.
It's really, really special to see a team really build organically. And honestly, I never experienced, at least where I was able to comprehend, a full-on rebuild. And after we lost the offensive lineman in the 2015 season, we endured a true rebuild. I think people forget that teams would just chalk the Bengals up as a victory on their schedule.
Mhm.
There was so much disrespect. We were an afterthought. I remember those games. I remember when the Saints came into Paul Brown Stadium. Yes, when it was called Paul Brown Stadium, and they put up
Blew them
almost
out.
600 yards. I remember Terrell Austin as the Bengals defensive coordinator.
Fun
I
times.
remember us every single year. The Paul Dehner Juniors of the world, the Jay Morrisons of the world, used to write articles about how this defensive line, this is going to be a year that this Bengals defensive line finally breaks through. The Fisher Price pack, Michael Johnson, Geno Atkins, D'Amato Pecco, Carlos Dunlap, and constantly year after year, Geno Atkins would show up. He would do great. Carlos would be okay. Michael Johnson would be okay. But we never really broke through. We never really took over the games, the dominant games, the games that meant something.
Never captured that magic from the early 2000s that they had.
Never.
2010, 2011, 2012.
I remember those things.
Right.
So it's very interesting to me to hear people say, you know what? The Bengals fan base is cocky now. No, the Bengals fan base is tired of being pushovers. They're tired of being pushovers. They're tired of being looked at as the team that is just happy to be a part of a game. Now, as my guy Jai says in the comment section, now the Bengals walk in your trap and they take over your trap.
We'll touch on that, man. The confidence is earned because everybody said after they went to the Super Bowl, oh, they're about to have the hangover. Well, watch out. Like, this is where it comes. You want to impress us? You want us to take you seriously? Do it again. And what'd they do? They came out and they rattled off 10 straight wins in the hardest part of their schedule, went on the road against many people's darling AFC team, and just absolutely dominated every single facet of the game at every spot. And still, people don't want to give that respect. And I think a big part of that, too, is Hayden Winks of Underdog Fantasy pointed this out a couple weeks ago. Between 20 and 24 teams are realistically in the quarterback market. You've got a lot of people that are just jealous that they want a Joe Burrow. And let's be honest, as Bengals fans, when you're going through those rough years between Carson Palmer and where you are with Joe Burrow now, you were looking at guys like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers going, God, I want one of those guys. And there's plenty of fans out there that'll tell you, honestly, the few and far between, everybody's passionate, but some of them will be like, hey, man, like Joe Burrow's a guy. I wish we had a guy like that. Like, and that's what it is, man. This is misplaced aggression. This is misplaced hate. This is people looking at guys that they have like Kenny Pickett that they're stuck to for the next couple of years going, man, I wish he was a Joe Burrow.
Yeah. And I just want people to know, and I'd like to think that I speak on behalf of the entire Bengals nation when I say this. I'm one of you, number one. Let me just say that. I'm in the media, yes, and I cover everything. I break NFL news, but I'm also one of you. That's why I personally never want to cover the Bengals on site. I never want to stop being a fan of this team while also speaking openly with knowledge of what's going on inside the building through sources and things of that nature. But that's why we do this show for you guys. I'm one of you. I remember being a kid, seeing the Cincinnati Bengals not being talked about, being disrespected, and not living up to expectations as well. To be here at 27 years old, seeing, being in the city, because I had a goal to be here by the age of 27, and to see what they're doing right now, and to see that they have a quarterback like Joe Burrow. And I remember, rooting for the Bengals growing up. And there were guys we would play that were very similar to a Joe Burrow. And you're like, oh, goddamn. I don't want to.
You just want to do everything to survive.
Bro,
that way.
I remember being a kid, man, and looking at the injury report of another team saying, man, I hope that this dude doesn't play this week. I hope that this guy doesn't play. Not that I wish injury on people, but I was like, man, I want this team to have the best shot at winning because I just knew deep down we didn't have that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I will line this Bengals football team up with anybody in the National Football League. Don't care who you are.
It's one of the best built teams in the NFL.
You want to play the best now.
Right.
Now you want to play the best. You want them to be healthy and you want to play the best.
All the smoke.
But I just say this to say, man, drop. Matter of fact, do me a favor, guys. Drop your stories that you remember being a kid as a Bengals fan down in the chat. I want to get to some of your stories, man. I think it's important. Again, this is like in no other Bengals show out there. This is truly an interactive show that's brought to you by First Star Logistics. It's the state of the jungle. This is why we talk about this thing. I want you guys to drop your memories down in the comment section. This is a show where we do want to jog down memory lane, and we do want to talk about our times being fans and stuff like that. And like I said, growing up as a kid in Jersey,
mm-hmm.
all I was surrounded by was with Jets and Giants fans.
Oh, and even when they were bad, they were still talked about all the time, like the Cowboys and Steelers are.
Bro, I remember. Not only that, I remember vividly when the Jets beat us in the playoffs,
mm-hmm.
and the amount of hate that I got wearing Bengals gear. Why are you a Bengals fan? Blah blah blah. So I'm so happy for the younger generation, man. The young kids that are coming up, man, that really get to experience a winner, man. This city, man, these people, man, they deserve it.
He's having a Steph Curry-like effect on a lot of the youth, man. Not just in Cincinnati, but I mean, like him and Patrick Mahomes being those younger quarterbacks, being that new face, like you were talking about. You're going to see that gravitation to them, man.
People want to be
has that. Yeah, he has that it factor, that superstar swagger, that calm confidence about him, man. And that's in Cincinnati, man.
Yeah,
like
man.
That's the quarterback for the next, 8, 10, 14 years.
Well, that contract's going to be pretty big. I'll tell you that right now that he's going to get. His contract's
every
big.
penny.
Every single penny. Franchise changer, game changer. And I never want to see him ever in another uniform, man. I never want to. So let's get to some of these questions, man, or these stories, man. I want to get to some of them, man. This is what this show is all about. It's a family, man. This is really, really cool, man. I'm happy that we're able to do this show and bring it to you guys and talk about everything. Ask us anything, though. Like, ask us anything. Drop your stories. This is what we want to talk about right now.
So Ken Hammock was saying, remember when we played nationally televised games, hoping just to play good and not be embarrassed?
Just to look good in some people's minds for the one Bengals game they watched that year. Yeah.
I'm from Portland, Oregon. Bengals were never a local game, so it was always a treat when I was able to watch any Bengals game. The amount of times I was so excited to go and watch. Oh, the Bengals are on TV this week. The Bengals are on TV this week. We lost by 17. Yeah. We lost by 21. Sad times.
Do you know what I won't forget? People forget this, but I don't forget. I remember when the Bengals took on the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. It was the last time we faced them under Marvin Lewis. I think it was the last time we faced them. And I remember Patrick Mahomes absolutely toying with us. You guys remember that game?
Oh yeah, they were only 6.5-point favorites on the spirit of complete transparency and honesty, knowing the Bengals in prime time and Andy Dalton, and that was an extreme mismatch. Oh, I absolutely took the Chiefs minus 6.5, and it was not close. Like, I'm sorry. I love the Bengals, but I also call it like I see it. Like, and it was funny because the Saints game was the week after, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah,
it was the week after because I looked at that line too, and I said, I don't know.
I remember Zach Taylor sitting up on the podium when he took over as the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals, and I remember after every game he used to say the exact same thing: culture. It's about the culture. We know what we have in this locker room.
Mm-hmm.
And people used to be like, at that point, I'm already solidified in in the media, if you will. So you hear stories, you hear things, and there was a real sense beyond the players that they were going to get this thing turned around. I think when they were able to secure Joe Burrow, they knew that it was going to be franchise changing, and it has been every bit of that. You know what I mean? But I also think Zach Taylor doesn't get enough credit for being the coach that he is. Just being able to just get this team prepared. It seems like this team is now one of the most well-coached teams in the NFL. Like, you don't see the same mental lapses that you used to see.
I think that game against Buffalo proved it, man.
Yeah, man.
That was, I
don't think the
Bengals
of old doesn't win those games, man.
Oh, absolutely not.
And
especially not like that.
It feels weird.
Especially not like that.
It does feel weird. It does, because it doesn't feel weird in the sense that I grew up watching Tom Brady.
It's weird, like leaving your house without your phone, and you feel like you're missing something, or that something's not right, or something's off, man. Like, you're just, you don't need it, or you don't have it, but like just not having it is just weird.
Exactly.
Well, how many years did us Bengals fans watch Bengals games and just wait for something to go wrong, knowing something's going to happen? Oh, we're up by 14.
Here it comes.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
You guys remember Chris Crocker?
Oh yeah.
That was my guy, man. Chris Crocker, they used to bring him out of retirement. Like, they brought him out of retirement like 3 times, and he would always come out and make plays, intercept the ball. Chris Crocker was my guy, man.
Bengals secondary was one of the favorite parts of my favorite parts of the Bengals for years, man.
Who was one of my favorite Bengals growing up? You're probably gonna, God rest his soul, Thomas Howard, the linebacker. He was only with us for 1 year. I loved him. It was him. We had I forgot who else we had alongside him, but I think Ray was still, Ray Maluga was still there.
That Dhani Jones era.
Dhani was gone at that point. I think. Yeah, it was Thomas Howard, and it was another Manny Lawson. Oh, Manny Lawson. That's who it was, man. Manny Lawson, man. It was Manny Lawson, Thomas Howard, and Ray Maluga were our linebackers, and I just thought that was the coolest thing. Remember Nate Clements? Remember that? No, I'm going back in memory lane, man. I'm going back, man.
Shoot.
You gotta really, Dane Sazin back. Let me stop.
Dane?
O'Neal. That was my favorite.
O'Neal, yeah.
Remember when people were like, "Oh, Evan Whalen, he's done some stuff."
My
oh my god, like he did like 3 good plays, and everybody's like, "Oh, Evan Whalen."
I'll tell you who I love.
Look out,
Jordan Shipley was my guy.
Oh my god,
Jordan Shipley was my guy, man. Before he tore his ACL, that was my guy, man. I love that guy. I thought he was just like the best thing ever.
Malik, I got a good question. If there was one player, and this is for each of you guys, if there was one player from the Marvin Lewis era that you can bring to this team right now, who would it be?
Tyler Eifert.
You get him 100% healthy.
100%. Tyler, give me Tyler Eifert from the 2015 season. Was it 2015? It was 2015 season.
Now let me pause it something here real quick. All right.
Okay. Or Gino.
Now, hey, that's what I was about to say. You got Hayden Hurst, and what's the difference between Hayden Hurst and Tyler Eifert versus with Joe Burrow throwing to him, because Joe Burrow can make things happen.
Bro, Tyler Eifert
BJ Hill, and I love you, BJ, but like BJ to Gino, I mean, oh my word,
dude,
man.
Give me Andrew Whitworth. Give me Big Whit.
I could feel that.
Give me a tackle. Give me the guy. The best
or Kyle Cook, the center. I'm messing, but he was good.
I don't know. I'd take like Terrence Newman's best year.
Yeah,
like Leon Hall.
Do you remember that play against the Packers?
Dude, I remember
that?
I remember Pac-Man. We were talking about elite quarterbacks and not knowing if you could win a game or not. How about beating Aaron Rodgers in the jungle on a pick 6?
Yes, I remember that.
That was electric. That was Pac-Man who picked that one, wasn't it?
I think that was Pac-Man, yeah.
Because Kirk had the one in Kirkpatrick had the one in Green Bay versus
nope, that was William Jackson.
Or no, yeah, it was William Jackson.
William Jackson had the one in Green Bay.
He had the one in Denver. That was Kirk.
Draker Patrick had the one in Denver. We caught the interception, ran it all the way back, fumbled it.
Hey, I choose to delete some parts of that from my memory. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Alabama guy and everything. You know, I try to have that selective.
How about this? How about one of the best Dre memories ever? Dre Kirkpatrick finally gets his start. And me and him were just talking about this the other day. I was literally saying, y'all remember your first start, bro. Like, and he was like, bro, people don't know what I had to go through just in the Marvin Lewis era just to get a chance. Going against Peyton Manning, the Bengals win, Bengals are in. Houday Nation was rocking. The crowd was on fire. Dre Kirkpatrick picks off Peyton Manning not once, but 2 times. And one of them, he ran it back to the house for a touchdown. You remember that? It was a diving interception. It started pouring down raining. That's when I was like, man, this dude's a problem. This dude's a problem. And that's when I was like, all right, Dre's going to be the guy here in Cincinnati, man.
I like
Dre. Yeah, Dre was my guy, man. That was one of my best memories of Dre Kirkpatrick, honestly. Daniel, let's keep it going. Sorry. I could talk ball with the boys all day, man. This is what the State of the Jungle is all about. Guys, do me a favor, give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate your support so much. Tequila Spikes. Wow, man.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, there's a
Wow.
name.
Let me just read off some of these names that people are saying. I want to get your
take me
opinion. Brian said Leon Hall.
Oh yeah, that's my guy.
miss that
Leon
guy,
Hall,
man.
baby.
Elite
Solid
slot
Bengal.
corner.
Oh, dude.
Solid
Elite.
Bengal for a long
Very
time, man.
underrated. Very underrated.
Elite slot corner.
Hushman Zada.
Of course.
Whoosh,
course.
yeah.
We got Pac-Man.
Hey, man, I would take Pac-Man just to return punts. We were talking about this at the
Yes.
Buffalo Bills game. Please, Trent Taylor, don't fumble. Please, Trent Taylor, don't fumble.
Oh my god.
Who do we put
Don't
back
even
there
put that in
instead?
my
Give
mind.
me Pac-Man Jones.
Yeah, Pac-Man Jones is a problem.
Vontez Burfict with a positive attitude. Somebody said. Chris.
So just a different person.
So yeah, not Vontez perfect.
Remember
Yeah.
the one year he led the league in tackles?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, man.
It was 155 tackles, I
It
think,
was
that
something
year.
crazy.
Something nuts.
Ray Malaluga.
Ray was the
Yeah.
guy. He still goes to Bengals games.
He
People
was
don't know
at the
that.
Bills game. He was at
Oh,
the Bills
yeah.
game.
Yeah,
He
he
was
was
there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he went to a game in Cincinnati last year some point in time, but he's forgotten. He's not talked about enough.
So I got a quick little story from somebody. Jay Trinity said, I grew up in Cali being as a kid. Carson Palmer's rookie year. I never had the confidence in this team until we drafted Burrow.
Wow.
And this brotherhood never existed before.
I think that's a good point, is that there's like you said, it all kind of came together at the right time where you had Zach Taylor with what he was doing for the culture. At the same time, you get a culture changer like Joe Burrow, along with a weapon like T. Higgins. And then right after that, you have the opportunity to draft an elite prospect in Jamar Chase, who's also the quarterback's like best friend. So you got Duke Tobin bringing in guys like DJ Reader and Mike Hilton that are just
Trey Hendrickson.
these captains, these culture setters, these tone setters, these veterans, and everything and every single aspect has come together so well that it's really unique to have all these different things gel so much. And you can feel that when you see these interactions from the locker rooms between these players, the love they're giving each other on social media, the interviews they're doing, which again, Bengals players are doing national interviews. Like, how wild is that to see them just like
That
regularly?
used to
just
never
like,
be the case.
that's what I'm saying,
Never.
man. This also, another aspect, the Blackburn family and Elizabeth Blackburn coming at the same time and kind of
Fantastic job.
bringing the Bengals into the modern generation at the exact same time they're doing that. And to the credit the Bengals organization for realizing the need to change, to update, to reassess how they were approaching things and say, the way we've been doing things hasn't been working. Top down, end to end, you saw everyone take that mentality of we are going to change things and we are going to work together to get this. And you can really feel and experience that. And that's why this is a rebuild that it's one that you're not going to see very often, because it's like hitting a perfect draft like Seattle or the Saints do. It's so hard to hit on every single one of those aspects without having that head coach bust or having that GM end up swinging and missing on a bunch of players, having that owner like Jerry Jones out there with control of the organization saying Zeke should get all the touches and there's no argument for Tony Pollard. You know, that's all that different ability to change and to adapt and to have that humility to say we can do better. I mean, it's just, it's really incredible. It really is.
I agree.
Our guy Ryan said, and this goes way back, the first game I ever went to was the 2004 Monday night game against Denver, and Chad cooked Champ Bailey for a long touchdown.
Damn, there's a name I haven't heard in a
Champ
while.
Bailey.
I
Wow.
love Champ
He
Bailey.
gets forgotten about, man.
He
That
does,
dude was elite.
man.
That dude was
Gosh.
One of the best corners.
elite. He's
in
one of the
league
first
for a long
99
time.
overall players in Madden. I
Yeah.
believe.
Oh yeah.
That's
Dude was a
crazy.
monster.
Cut to the Chase Sports podcast said Cedric Pearman game Sunday Night Football versus Steelers in 2012.
Isn't it crazy? For me, Samaje Perine reminds me a lot of Cedric Pearman.
I can see that.
He
I think
does.
Cedric had a little
Yeah.
more juice to him.
Yeah.
He was Samaje's thick, man.
Yeah.
He's a big boy. He's a
Oh,
big
yeah.
boy.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody, this is actually pretty cool. A name that I haven't heard in a while, or I think we actually talked about George Ioka.
George
Iloka.
Yep.
Just-
Yep.
George
Oh,
Iloka was
hey,
great.
yeah.
He
No.
was
And
great.
how about Taylor Mays back there, man? He
Oh,
and
my
Taylor
God.
Mays were holding it down for a year, and they
Oh.
were like, "Oh man, hey, Ioka and Mays, all right. Did they have a top 15?"
Marvin Lewis loved Taylor Mays, huh?
Oh yeah.
He used to always have him around.
Marvin loved his guys, man. He did.
Oh, yeah.
This one goes way, way back. I remember Doug Pelfrey hitting a walk-off field goal to beat the Eagles on Christmas Eve to complete the 3-13 season in the 90s. I was jumping up and down. I savor every moment of the team we have now. That's from our guy B. Ryan.
Good
That,
for you,
that
man.
shows you.
Hey.
That shows you how young I don't
That's-
even know who that is.
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah.
You especially, man. Like, don't let anybody tell you can't celebrate or have a good time on the Bengals right now, or you're being too confident, man. You suffered through a lot. You earned every bit of it. Enjoy every moment.
The Crocker interception of Big Ben was great, Malcolm said.
Every Big Ben and every
Every interception
on Big Ben was
yeah, every
amazing.
sack,
Oh
every
my God.
interception. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
When Sean Williams intercepted Big Ben that one time, I thought Sean Williams was gonna be the next, big thing for us here in Cincinnati. I did.
Black Hills said, my dad and mom were in the HBO Sports video slapping Jennings' helmet after that KO return or that kickoff return in KC. It was a great memory.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Deja Vu said, I had a signed Carson Palmer jersey that even Goodwill wouldn't even take.
Oh, Lord.
Oh no.
Nathan said he's got a memory of Shane Graham stealing his Sharpie while signing autographs at training camp. Wow. Yeah. Kane said, Malik, I'm 34 and no Doug Pelfrey. Well,
Brother, you got me beat, man. I'm only 27. So
I
I'll
think
blame it
that's a
on-
common misconception. I think
people think I'm older,
Yeah.
I appreciate for people thinking I'm older. I guess that's a good thing.
You're
But yeah,
wise like a tortoise.
I'm like a tortoise, man. I'm just a
You got
listen,
a long memory.
I'm just a sponge, man. I love talking to Bengals fans and football fans from all over, man, and just meeting people, man. That's how I made it this far as I have in this business. So
Pedro gives kind of a hypothetical. Who do you guys see from this current Bengals team as future members of the Ring of Honor?
Joe Burrow, I think that's already solidified, to be
Yeah.
honest with you,
Right.
regardless of he could retire today. Jamar Chase, I think Jamar Chase is going to be the best receiver in Bengals history when it's all said and done. And I'm going to go with
Do you think Hubbard makes it just because of the local connection? And he's probably going to,
He's
yeah.
probably gonna
Whether or
make it.
not that's
He's-
whether the Ring of Honor is supposed to be for people who are on the cusp of Hall of Fame but might just not get in. Like, I don't think Sam is of that tier, but I think for what Sam means to this community, the city, and this football team,
the
Sam-
impact on Cincinnati.
Sam Hubbard could be a guy for me. What was the defensive end, man? Oh man. And hopefully my guy Kevin texts me because he always does whenever I have a brain fart on the show. There was a defensive end that the Bengals had years ago. Cincinnati didn't pay him.
Justin Smith.
He went to the
Justin
Niners.
Smith.
Justin
Yep.
Smith. Justin Smith. That's who it was. Justin Smith. To me, I think. Remember, Justin Smith was he's gonna be a Hall of Fame.
He was a good player in
Yeah.
Cincinnati and then went to San Fran.
That-
Was
that duo,
amazing.
Justin Smith and Robert Geathers.
Oh my gosh.
Woo. Justin Smith could be. I mean, Sam Hubbard could be a guy that I think has his career similar to Justin Smith. I think he's like fine wine. He gets better with age.
Mhm.
And I think the more he develops a pass rush repertoire, and as long as Marion Hobby's here in Cincinnati, I think he's going to have a lot of success. I do.
Just M. Shaw said, what about Jonathan Joseph? We had the awesome
Oh,
secondary.
JJ. I wish they
Wow.
would have brought him back, man. It broke my heart when he went to the
Yeah.
Texans.
He did
was
us dirty
still-
in the playoffs, man.
Dude,
Oh
he
my
was
gosh,
still
he did us
balling
dirty.
it. Like, I mean, do you know how hard it is for a corner to still be successful at 30 plus in this league?
Yeah.
And then he just kept doing it, man.
Right.
Like, he was still around with the Texans till like what, 2018, 2017?
Yeah, he
Like,
played.
he was still
for a while,
playing.
yeah.
He was
Yeah.
like mid.
It's still at a good level. Like, he was still
Yeah,
like a top
mid-30s.
15
Nobody
corner. It
does
was
that at the
crazy,
cornerback
dude.
position.
Right.
these days.
It was him, Terrence Newman, and there was like nobody else who'd successfully done it past like 35. It was
Right.
like, man, yeah, that's another guy I wish they would
Terrence
have kept
Newman.
around, man.
Terrence Newman was a
Awesome,
dog,
man.
man.
That whole
crazy.
secondary of like those
Like,
guys.
we
Leon
we
Hall,
had-
JJ.
We had like
Terrence
remember we
Newman.
had like our cornerback depth was so insane. It was like all first
Mhm.
round.
It was all. It was Dark
Yeah.
Denard. It was Drake Kirkpatrick, Leon Hall, Terrence Newman.
That's now Darquez Denard That's a
That's a
guy
name.
that
That's a
I
name.
thought he
Underrated
was gonna
slot
be
corner. Okay, but when
underrated,
people were
yes.
still figuring out how valuable the slot position was as a wide receiver or corner, people always kind of scoffed at people like, well, he's playing in the slot, or like, oh, he's not that much. Like
Now slot corner is such a valuable position.
Right.
Well, look at
because
what Mike
people-
Hilton did for this team.
because people were just like, oh, these are 3 and 5 yard receptions.
I'll
These
be
are
real with you. This
checkdowns.
version of Mike
Like,
Hilton, like Pittsburgh Steelers fans are even like, yo, like this version of
this
Mike
is
Hilton
nuts,
is
man.
different.
He,
Like,
he's,
who is
he
this?
got a screw loose.
Remember, 'cause
man.
they
He
used to
turned
call him-
up.
they
I
thought-
don't know.
they used to not. He was like the original Blitz boy almost.
No,
for,
that I think Bengals fans used to call him Blitz Boy.
Yeah, 'cause
Dude, he
that's-
was one of the most devastating pass rushers.
Oh
for
my
as
God,
a secondary, as a secondary member, like his ability to blitz and just like get pressures on like 2/3 of
Who's
his
done it like
attempts.
him?
nobody.
Nobody.
Hilton's
Like
elite.
literally nobody.
God.
Like there was no cornerback, a slot cornerback outside. There was no defensive back who came in and got sacks like he did. All right, Jamal Adams,
Who
he
wasn't
got
a
some
safety,
sacks.
like a
He was
corner,
a safety, though,
true
right? A true
corner.
cornerback.
Yeah,
5'9", right? Little guy.
built different.
Built different, man. The way he's able to just sneak through, you can't even see him, right? I think that's one of the most valuable things about Mike Hilton. I mean, Bengals fans know, but look, the way that he can, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, 6'5", 6'6". Mike Hilton's 5'9", and he's just snaking his way through. You can
He's
hide.
slithery.
Oh, dude, he
He's
is a snake.
slithery.
He's a snake.
He's tough
out
to
there
get his
on the
hands.
football
You're
field.
tough to get your hands on.
Oh, yeah.
He just finds a way through, and he is special to watch. He
Oh,
is
yeah.
fun to watch.
Very, very much so.
We got Malcolm asking, remember the hype or all the hype that we had in the Ocho Cinco off season?
Which offseason?
He said
I assume
the
he saw
TO,
about like
the-
2005.
Oh, the
TO.
TO, Chad,
Oh, yeah.
Chad Ochocinco?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I thought you were talking about this year. I was like,
Yeah.
oh.
That was
Yeah,
my
no.
first Bengals jersey. It was actually a throw.
Oh,
jersey.
my
Really?
first.
My parents didn't buy me jerseys, so I like inherited one from my best friend and their family, and that
My-
was like the coolest freaking thing ever to me.
My first ever Bengals jersey was Kajana Carter. Kajana Carter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry.
I know.
So let me ask you guys each a question. What was your guys' first memory of the Bengals, good or bad?
First memory, man.
I just remember when I was young watching Rudy Johnson and just being like, this guy's amazing. Because, my family wasn't hardcore Bengals. Like, I watched the games myself, like, kind of when I was like starting to be like 7, 8, 9, and 10, when I could actually understand what was going on. I was still like watching football, but didn't really know or have that awareness of necessarily who everyone was. But like,
Mhm.
Rudy is one of the first players I remember that just like vividly stuck out to me every single game,
Mhm.
because there was, Kitna and other people, but they didn't really resonate with me. But I remember just being like, Rudy, every time he did anything, man. And he was always like the first Bengal that I kind of fell in love with in that regard.
I remember, man, there's so many memories, man. But my first Bengals memory, man, I'll go positive. I was a big Cedric Benson guy.
Mhm.
Rest his soul. Big Cedric Benson guy. I'm a big fan of running backs. Like, even when we went out there and we had the law firm, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Remember that?
BJGE.
Oh, man.
That
That hurt my heart.
Oh man, that was my guy, man. I remember being so upset the first time he fumbled. Remember, because he went.
He had that
after
streak
that-
for like, what was it, like over
man.
1,000 snaps or
Yeah,
something? Yeah,
man.
dude, fumbled.
And I believe it was
yeah.
against the now Commanders. Now they're called the Commanders, but I think that was his fumble. We were playing them away, and he fumbled for the first time. Do you guys remember that game against the Commanders back in the day, where it was a flea flicker thrown to Mohamed Sanu? He threw it to AJ Green for a touchdown
Oh,
pass.
dude, Mohamed Sanu.
Dude,
Hey,
he
he's
was-
one of the best passers in NFL history. If you look at his
non-quarterbacks.
his ratings.
Well, yeah, no,
well, no, just
for all
ratings wise,
quarterbacks,
just for
yeah.
everybody.
Because he was like 5 for
yeah,
6 for
2
like
touchdowns.
300 yards
Yeah.
and 2 touchdowns. Yeah.
Somebody said first memory is watching Kitna's bald.
Oh, all right. I want to get to my first
That's-
memory. It was, I think I have a pretty funny one, man. Because, I grew up in Portland, Oregon. No Bengals fans around. There was nobody. My parents are Green Bay Packers fans. My older brothers are Arizona Cardinals fan. It was just whatever. The first memory that I have was going to the football card store, going to the card store, and getting my first ever football card pack that I can remember at least. And in that pack, I get a signed Andre Caldwell. I get a signed Andre Caldwell pack.
There's a name. Hell
There's
yeah.
a name. I remember being
Wow.
the happiest person on earth that day. Nobody could have told me anything, man. Andre Caldwell, number 87, signed card. Man, I was just on cloud 9.
That's funny.
Who was the other receiver? The one that did the front flip into the end zone.
Jerome Simpson.
Jerome Simpson.
Jerome
man.
There's,
Simpson,
there's another
man.
memory, man. I think everybody collectively threw their
everyone remembers
popcorn when
that.
that happened, man.
Oh my
Like,
God. That was Christmas
that was
Eve.
unreal.
Christmas Eve.
That was unreal.
Yeah, man, that was crazy.
Malik, a little off topic, but where'd you get that hoodie? Adrian's been looking for it everywhere this year.
Funny enough, so Jamar Chase was actually wearing this hoodie. He wears this hoodie every pregame. He even wore it at the Bills game pregame.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, man, that's gnarly. That's great. So I was actually just walking around the Bengals pro shop. My guy, this pro shop manager of the Bengals store, they had some there. And I just picked it up from the pro shop. Went there the other day, none left. I think a lot of people started picking them up and things of that nature. But man, these are comfortable. It's like double hooded as well. And it's like really, really warm on the sleeves as well. So this is probably one of my Bengals. It probably is my favorite Bengals jacket or, wear that I do have. Got to say that.
Malcolm's asked, or he's talking about his favorite memory. He said from the 2009 season where the Bengals swept the AFC North, Caldwell scored with like 17 seconds to beat Baltimore in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm. Remember that?
Reminiscent times. Malik, we got a question here asking about updates on Ted Karras, Alex Cappa, or Jonah Williams really quickly.
There's no updates yet. I know that Williams and Cappa both did not practice today. I don't think that there's been any designation for Ted Karras just yet.
I think aren't Cappa and Williams, are they out officially? I don't expect to see that.
No, they're not out officially yet.
Okay.
They just didn't practice today.
I know that they had the boot off of Kappa and they
Yeah,
have him
boot was
taped
off.
up, but
Yeah.
I didn't know if there was any expectation that he would still be able to make it back this week. It seemed like it was a pretty significant ankle injury.
Yeah.
This might be a long shot. I don't know. Do you guys remember Pete Johnson? Might be
Can't say that
before our
again.
Can't
time.
say I do.
Evan's the elder.
I'm the
Evan's
elder here by
elder.
like
over my
what,
head.
like 6-8 months, something like that.
He's the
Yeah.
elder statesman. So
Brandon Tate.
Oh, there
Brandon
was a
Tate.
special teamer, man.
I
There was a special teamer.
did not like Brandon Tate. He might have been one of my
I-
least.
I do remember the one memory I do have Brandon Tate. Andy Dalton runs right to the side, to the right side of the offensive line. He heaves the ball deep down the field. Brandon Tate catches it, diving, touchdown in the end zone. I forgot who we were facing. We might have been facing the Titans, if I'm not mistaken. But the dude was a burner. He had crazy speed. Just
Kept dropping
he was
balls, kept fumbling on punt returns.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a first rounder for the
He
Patriots?
killed me on special teams, man. Like he was
Mhm.
just butterfingers.
I think the
on
Patriots
special
drafted
teams.
him in the
Killed
first
me.
round. I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so. We got Alice or Elise is saying there are a lot of great loyal fans in here, and that's all a product of what we're trying to do here. We're answering all you guys' questions. We got people saying Brandon LaFell.
JoJo.
Oh
yeah.
man.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, JoJo LaFell, man. The Bengals
Yeah.
brought him in to
that wide
replace.
receiver room was dark times.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, man. I'm not gonna say he did have one game where he went off. I forgot what it was.
He had one game, man. Like, but I'm not even trying to talk bad on Brandon LaFell because, like, I mean, he was cast into like a number one wide receiver role.
Yeah,
And he wasn't
he
even,
wasn't
like
the number
truly a
one.
number one
No.
wide receiver anyway. So, and then he was already kind of on the back end of his career at that point. He didn't quite have the speed of the burst that he did. It was unfair the position they put him in. So I'm not blaming him there. It's
If everybody do me a favor, give this video a like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're really trying to hit 3K. We appreciate your support so much. Give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Appreciate you.
Jermaine Gresham. That's another
The
name.
Fumble King.
Man,
Remember he
I,
fumbled
I thought
against
he
the
was
Steelers?
gonna be
I
the
soured
tight
on
end, man.
him when he skipped that. I don't know any of the background on that and this, whoever leaked whatever to the team, but he skipped that Cleveland game over a toe injury.
Yeah.
And that's when I was just kind of like, man, like,
But Jermaine was one of the first few of this newer breed of tight ends, if you will.
yeah. He
They're
was
more
kind of the
the receiving
slimmer,
guys.
skinnier
Yeah.
receiving tight end action.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
100%.
I remember Jermaine Gresham.
I thought he was going to be really good.
I thought he was too, man.
I
and
really
I wanted
believed in
that
Jermaine
for him.
Gresham.
He
And
was-
I had
he-
that faith.
Mhm.
but I
And
had to
that's
give
what
up on
he
it.
was good. He just when he would get the ball in his hand, I would say go down. Just go
It was
down.
potential.
Yeah,
There was
yeah.
a lot of potential, but
Yeah.
eventually potential has to be realized, or it's just
Or it's just potential.
or it's
That's
just
all it is.
potential. And so it's got to turn into production at some point, and that's just never
Absolutely
all
has to.
clicked for him. So
So we've got a couple questions about the game. Luke's been asking, do you guys or would you guys blitz Patrick Mahomes on the first play to test his ankle, or what would your guys' game plan be?
I
for
would
Patrick Mahomes?
I would not listen to the whole he's not healthy thing. I
No.
would just play our game, play him as if he's the healthiest. because that could just be them setting you up as well. So
They've been successful dropping 8 against them too.
Yep.
Right.
So,
So I would just keep doing that.
Why fix it if it isn't broken?
Yeah.
Beautiful question here about Jackson Carman. If Jackson performs well again and we win, and Jonah is ready to play in the Super Bowl, who would you guys start?
Jackson Carman.
Personally, Jackson Carman.
Evan.
I mean, if he has another game that, he gets another 25 true pass sets out there and is giving up, only 1 or 2 pressures, then yeah, I guess at that point, you've got Jonah coming back off injury.
And if he's healthy, you can put him in if
2
Jackson
dislocated kneecaps.
Yeah, I probably, between all that, between his injury history and coming off the injury, I probably just
I'd say just get healthy, Jonah. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a play with 2 dislocated kneecaps. Like
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts, man. It looked really bad.
Yeah.
Another question about the game. Who guards Travis Kelce, Dax Hill or Trey Flowers?
Is Flowers still injured?
He is. He's working his way back. I mean, I think it's a collective effort. I don't think it's just one person. I don't think
they'll rotate him in.
They don't man up too much against the Chiefs either. Not just pure man sets, especially not against Travis Kelce.
Even with healthy, I wouldn't expect Flowers to play, 50, 60 snaps on that defense.
15, 20, sure.
Right, yeah. But on the key plays, key downs where they want to put some extra help on him, maybe put him trailing underneath with the safety over the top or a linebacker to help out on 3rd and 7 or whatever. Maybe he comes in, but I wouldn't expect to see him a whole bunch.
So we've got one more, and this is something that a lot of people are asking for you guys' opinion on. What was you guys' thoughts on what Brandon Bean said, right? He talked about, glad we didn't suck enough to have to get a guy like Jamar Chase.
Who wants to start?
I'll say this. This is the only thing I'll say about Brandon Bean because I don't want to disrespect the Buffalo Bills organization. I'll say I understand where he's coming from. To me, the way he said it had a little bit of a spiteful tone to it because the Bengals just beat them, which is understandable. But I think that the love and respect that the Bengals and Bills had for each other is sort of
it's walking out the door.
It's walking out the door. I think
it's developing into more of a rivalry.
I think they're now seeing us as a legit rivalry, someone that's in their way, and now they're less inclined to be like, oh, our brothers, the Bengals, and stuff like that, which is fine. It's the National Football League. Everyone's vying for the top, right? Because the fact of the matter is, it is what it is, and it's a healthy competition. We want to keep it that. We want to keep it to that. And at the end of the day, Brandon Bean, it's fine. You're also the guy that passed on Terry McLaurin,
AJ Brown,
Justin Jefferson.
T.
Higgins. Traded the pick for Justin Jefferson.
I was going to say,
you didn't have to suck in order to get those guys.
I understand the point. He can easily say without being spiteful.
I'll just say this: you didn't have to suck to get those guys. You just had to be better at
your job. Had to be better at your job,
evaluating and drafting talent. But I digress. We have a AFC Championship to prepare for.
No, I think, that was pretty much it, is that he's already passed on a number of good receivers that went 15 or later. So I understand the overall intention saying that if you're going to get an elite player like Chase, then you can only find that usually in the top of the draft. That's what you say. You don't say, you just got to, have a suck fest for a whole year and then eventually, but we're not going to suck that bad. And it's like, man, well, like, you guys drafted a lot of different players as opposed to getting that kind of second option, and you went outside of the organization to get Stefon Diggs anyway. And you couldn't identify that, and you thought that Gabe Davis was a good enough number 2 to move forward, and that proved to not be the case. So don't, retroactively say like, well, we weren't in a draft position to ever get a receiver that was going to be a good running mate for Stefon Diggs. It's just not true.
Yeah,
they covered it.
Verifiably false. There it is.
So we've got one more, Malik. Mike Florio has been talking about the possibility of Mike Brown giving Joe Burrow a percentage of the Bengals cap. Do you see this coming? Is this a real thing?
I wouldn't listen to Mike Florio. Respectfully, of course, no disrespect at all either. But I think that I think there are a lot of options that are on the table when it comes to the extension of Joe Burrow. I don't think that there's a set way that they're going to go yet. We don't even know. Joe Burrow will come in there and say, yeah, I want to make sure all of our guys stay together as much.
Give me more guaranteed, less total.
Exactly. Right. It's so many different ways that you can manipulate the cap and make it work for you. I wouldn't read too much into that guy.
I would be shocked though, because that would be a brand new precedent for contract structure, which we know the Bengals don't use void years. No. Do not generally, they spread things out a lot. They They don't do these crazy cap gymnastics that you see teams like the Saints, the Rams doing, moving this money around, converting high cash or high guarantees. That's just not the way they've operated. So I would be shocked if they came out and set a precedent for contracts that has not been seen before. I'd be surprised.
All right.
Well, we want to thank you guys so much for. I want to get to this one last question though. Are there any concerns about stopping Pacheco and McKinnon in open space? Oh, you don't want to have those guys in open space. You don't want to have those guys. Yeah, 100%. But luckily for us, we have some of the best run stuffers in the league when it comes to Sam Hubbard.
Some of the best tackling corners between
and some of the best tackling
corners.
Yeah. So I think this is something that the Bengals is actually a strength for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not like the old Bengals where we kind of had a hard time tackling out at the cornerback position. I think that this defense works as a cohesive unit. But I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in to the State of the Jungle live from the First Star Logistics Studio here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Make sure you guys give this video a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a date with Kansas City, right? We have a date with Kansas City. The State of the Jungle crew will be out there in Kansas City at Arrowhead. And we're looking forward to this matchup. We're going to see two great quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow, leading their teams. And it's going to be a great game. Want Houday Nation to travel really, really strong for this game. I'm excited for this game. I know Evan's excited. Daniel's excited. Logan's excited. We can't wait to be here, man. Dash, thank you so much for joining us on State of the Jungle, my man, and filling in for Logan. Again, guys, we're really, really looking forward to this matchup in Kansas City. Questions get answered, and maybe the fourth time's a charm. We'll see. But I'm betting on the Cincinnati Bengals. I believe the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win this game. I think the Cincinnati Bengals are the better team. And I think that this is a matchup that's going to happen for the next couple of years. But with that being said, Kansas City will see you in Arrowhead. And I hope that everybody enjoys their football weekend filled with amazing games. And everybody stay safe, travel, in a pack, if you will, to Arrowhead, because we want to have a huge Bengals presence out there as well. Also, be on the lookout. We're going to be going live from Arrowhead as we do our pregame show, our first ever pregame show, live from Arrowhead, live from on site there. So, you know what? We're pumped up, and we're going to be going live post-game no matter the result, but we're expecting to bring back a winner again. The Bengals are still the team to beat in the AFC. Bengals fans, be loud, be proud, and be proud of how far this Bengals football team has come. The job is not finished. One more. But as I always say, Cincinnati versus everybody. KC, you're next.